And, you know, before the break, I think I introduced these to everybody, but we didn't really go through an example, and I wanted to go through an example of making a change so people could see how these are used and some other things. For the while we're waiting, we could talk about some stuff in the news. How many people heard about the cyber vulnerability that was all in the news? This is what you can read off or something.
Me, Meltdown Inspector. Tyler asked which one.
Meltdown Inspector. Yeah. So for those vulnerabilities, can anyone explain what they were about at a high level?
They are CPU exploits from Landon.
Yep.
They affect the kernel directly, question mark, from Landon as well.
So, you know, I can give you an example of what it's about, but without knowing all the technical details. But basically, the CPU, it's the central processing unit. It's basically where all the computing takes place. The idea is that within the CPU and in the processor, the operating system separates the different processes and permissions between all the different programs running. And so when you sorry, I was getting a phone call on that. So with inside the memory itself, though, if there's a vulnerability, then by having one program run on the same processor as another, they can gain access to the other programs that are running or the memory. And so since you want to keep that separate from the different programs running, you basically have a vulnerability where you can just run a program on the same processor as another program is running and steal some information from that other processor. So yeah, and it does come down to the way the processors are built. And the issue, now someone's trying to call me on my home number. Anyway.
Bob, you might want to get that just in case it's not Chloe and Marley.
Yeah, okay, I'll stand by again.
Okay, guys, I'll take over for a minute from Mr. Bush. We are, let's talk about just the general announcements for today, okay? He'll come back to the CPU issues in a minute. We have 1.5 weeks until the state round. Okay, this is a big, big round. This is really important because it sets people up to move on to the national round and to the other, to the second state round. There, for us, we are all either in platinum or in the gold rounds. So I want you to notice the second bullet under the announcements. There are 117 points for Cisco. 117 points, okay? You have a packet tracer that is on modules 1 through 15, and you have a quiz on modules 13 to 15, okay? Now, many of us missed out on Tuesday to Tyler Shibata's really, really awesome presentation on how to cheat. I suggest if you are around on Friday and can do it, come and listen to his talk. It is 20 minutes. It's not that long. He shows you how to cheat. I'm going to say this really quietly. He shows you how to cheat for your other classes as well. But this is a really important thing that you guys need to learn because these are 117 free points. You can look up the answers. They're right there. And the way he does it makes it seem super, super easy. So again, Friday, he will start at 3:05 because we waited for people to get there and he was done before 3:30. So get there, get there, get there. If I can remember, maybe we will try and see if we can have him do it as a GoToMeeting and we will screencast it. But I do not want other teams from around the United States to see how we are doing things. So we will probably keep this in closed video with us, okay? So please, 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 I'm begging you because 117 points is the real deal here, okay? Zeke, don't worry. He did not do any of the packet tracer stuff. It was just the quiz. Don't worry. The third bullet there, the top 25% will advance to semifinals. Keep that in mind, okay? We have understood that the jump of difficulty from last round to this round is not as drastic as it was from the first round to the second round. Obviously, they were trying to weed people out. So we made it through in gold and platinum. So congratulations. You guys did awesome. I'm really proud of everybody. And I want us just to remember that the name of the game there is perseverance. Keep trying. One of the things with that I have seen each of the different teams do, and you guys did really well the second round, was you got up, you had someone else look at something, and then you got yourself to walk around, clear your head, and then get back into the game. Do that this time. Make sure you are doing the different tricks that we have talked about that will keep you motivated and keep you focused for 6 hours. I know it's a long time. I know it's a lot to do, and a lot of the things are difficult to do, but I know that each and every single one of you guys is capable and is very able to do this stuff. All about the Google, okay? How are you going to search for the right answers as fast as possible? You don't just check one website, you check a couple, and then you try it, okay? So make sure that we are getting ready and geared up for that. The pass for the teachers it was sent in the email that was sent out on Monday. It is also in the Google Drive. It has the date and it has the name of what we're doing here, okay? So again, remember, teachers are going to be a little squirrely because it is the week before finals start. So you should start warning them now to say, hey, next Friday, I'm not here 4, 5, 6. Is there something I'm going to miss? And they're going to say to you, I have no idea. We just got back to school. I'll let you know next week. Okay. So make sure that you guys are on them and letting them know, because there are definitely teachers out there that are going to be annoyed that you're missing, but this is a competition and we are really getting geared up for this. Okay. Any questions so far? I'm going to let Mr. Bush take back over so that he can talk more about the Meltdown Inspector. But Mr. Bush, there was a conversation that happened after school today about internships that I wanted to bring up, because I know a lot of kids are trying to decide what they're doing over the summer already because applications are due and whatnot by January 15th. So maybe if you can give your Northrop Grumman internship a plug or where they can find information or something.
Okay, so let's see. Since that's kind of an announcement, I'll talk about that first. So last year we were slow at getting out the job requisitions, and so we had these last-minute internships that we got a huge amount of South High students to participate in. So it worked out really great for those who participated. I think you heard that these were paid internships, and they are offered to juniors and seniors. So either you're a senior this year or you're a junior this year, and they expect about 10 weeks of participation with time off for vacation. So I think most people who participated took either a week or a week and a half worth of vacation during that time. But then it was pretty much like an 8-hour-a-day job. And for those who did it, and Chloe, my daughter, did it, and she brought home a ton of money, and she was very excited about that. So I know there's been some folks looking for the recs you can search for on the Northrop Grumman career site and type in Cyber Patriot. and you will see some recs. You may not see the requisitions that are for the local here in Redondo Beach, the Northrop Grumman in Redondo Beach. But don't be discouraged. Go ahead and give me any information that you find out, and I will make sure that the folks on the other side know that they need to get those recs out if they're not out yet. So anyway, that's that. So I guess, Ms. Wood, I can start presenting now.
Okay.
And I did get the chat window back up. I don't know what happened to it, but must have closed it or something. Okay. Before I get into what's in the news, we already talked about a little bit about Meltdown Inspector, but I wanted to bring up the competition again. So here are our teams and the current standings, and who's platinum and who's gold. Although this, for some reason, this is different. Somebody might have messed with the file. We had more gold teams than these say we have a bunch of platinum, and I think there must be something wrong with probably someone. Shoot. Well, this is not going to work then. On Tuesday morning, we were looking at this file, and I think somebody made a change that affected it. But the gist of it is that if you have we have gold teams and we have platinum teams, and the gist. God, getting texts and phone calls everywhere coming in at me at once. I'm sorry, folks. I can speak actually. So if you were just barely didn't make the platinum team, you should be excited, because the fact is you'll have a better chance possibly of advancing to the next round in the upcoming competition. If you're in the platinum round, it's going to be tough to advance. Only the top 25% for both the platinum and the gold will advance. So just consider that. That one thing is, though, if you did if the top, geez, I'm really having a hard time tonight, Ms. Wood. Concentrate. All right, the 25%. I can't. I gotta reboot this brain. Thanks, Joy. Okay, well, oh, right, now I remember it. If your slate is wiped clean, there's nothing that carries over from the first and second round. The state round is brand new. So no matter how you did in those rounds, how you got to become gold or platinum, it doesn't matter. It all matters on how you do on this. And there are, as we know, 115 points or 117 points for the GoToMeeting. Thank you, Ms. Wood. There's 117 points for Cisco, so that is, then there's going to be 300 for the others, so there's 417 points. So if you scored very well on those 417, then you have a good shot of getting into that top 25%. So anyway, we're looking forward to seeing how well you do. I am confident we'll get at least one gold team, and I think even one platinum team this year in the top 25%. So good luck, and let's use this last week and a half to get ready for that.
Mr. Bush, really quickly,
right.
If you guys notice, I switched back to the version, excuse me, that Mr. Bush shared with me originally. So if there were any updates from other people, I think that got changed. But if you look at the percentiles here, you guys, the two teams, you guys were all so close to that platinum level that, you know, the point difference and the point value here is pretty incredible. Okay, so really, we really need to focus on the points that we can get as quick as possible. And we really need to make sure that everyone is participating to the best of our abilities. And again, don't, don't let our negativities or whatever get to us. If you need help, you need to ask. Okay. Not everyone is going to be the expert in Windows or in Linux or in Cisco. Or even if that expert is struggling, help them out. You guys are a team for a reason. And this is the point where you guys have to rely on each other and do the team stuff that we are not all used to doing when we want to work on our own and want to focus on our own thing. So really, really pay attention to the fact that you guys need each other through this round to advance to the next round. And I have the utmost confidence in everyone that we can do this. So I keep saying, you guys are capable to do this. I know you can. You have the tools at your disposal. Go through the Google Drive, set up your list, set up your checkoff lists and everything, and make sure that you can get your stuff done. And as Erin just said, it's never too late to grab a stray laptop and Google your heart out to help a teammate. There are laptop carts in both rooms, and there are desktops available. Those are this equipment is there for you guys to use and get it going. Okay? We are representing your school, you're representing yourselves, so make sure you have pride in it and go for it. Okay? All right, off my soapbox now. There you go.
Oh, okay. So thank you, Ms. Wood. Can you flip to the next slide while I'm getting ready for the next one? Okay. So we were explaining about the two cyber vulnerabilities, and it is very interesting. And I saw that there was folks sharing on the what's that tool, the GroupMe. And so if you saw that, great. And that's exactly the kind of thing I'm expecting out of you guys as Cyber Patriots, is to kind of share your knowledge and share your what you're looking at for in the news or hearing about in the news. That's great. Okay. So Meltdown Inspector. These are hardware vulnerabilities that exist in chips that are made by Intel. So AMD is a different chip maker, and they didn't have the same problem, but the Intel chips do, and they are everywhere. So they are in Mac computers, they're in PCs, and the problem exists. So what they did was they gave these computer makers, when this was discovered, they gave the computer makers a heads up, because they knew as soon as it got out on, oh, Landon just said it does affect AMD. I'm not sure how I got that right. Okay, if the news is that if they let the companies know, they gave them a heads up, the people who found the vulnerability gave the heads up to the companies so they could get fixed before it was generally known in the population, because they knew right away hackers would be trying to exploit this. So companies have done some things to do that, Windows and Mac. The one thing they said was that the servers, now we're all used to now virtual machines, but servers like the Amazon cloud servers, those are shared servers that share CPUs amongst lots of different virtual machines. And what they did was they made sure that was secure, because basically if you were to get any virtual machine in the Amazon cloud, you could potentially exploit another program running in that same cloud. So very dangerous. I think we still have more to hear about this, but you can see that the world is really aware now of cyber vulnerabilities and taking action right away. So, okay, let's look at the vulnerabilities from round 2. Ms. Wood, can you click on the link there? I went to the Cyber Patriot site, found the vulnerabilities by category, and put them into our round 2 folder. So it's the PDF file there. And you guys have seen these lists before. We saw it for round 1. And one thing I want to point out to you is all of them have pretty much the same set of types of vulnerabilities. And you can see the number of one of them per each operating system. So, you know, this morning Maya was looking at that with Maya. Who was it with? You're looking at to decide which category was what. Arin, thank you. Yeah, and you guys discovered by comparing what you got points for versus these lists, kind of what the categories really meant. And I think some of them are obvious. Like in the Windows 10 one here, you can see prohibited files versus malware. Can anyone give me an example of a prohibited file that they found during the competition? Yeah, music. I think that may have been on the competition. I'm not sure which one for Windows 10, what was the prohibited file that you got points for, but it was something that it said that was not allowed, whether it was music, something maybe it's not dangerous. You really need to keep in mind, especially when you're digging deep, trying to figure out what is missing, what you're not finding. It's got to be in one of these categories. So think about that. There's 13 categories. Every vulnerability was in one of these categories. So when you're sitting there digging deep going, gosh, I know there's 5 more points. Did we get all the local policies? Did we get all the account policies? Did we get the user auditing, service auditing? All right, so another question I have is, what's the difference between a service auditing or user auditing and account policies? Can anyone answer? Kind of cheating because I didn't tell you yet, but I'm just wondering if either Maya or Rin know what that is, or anyone out there?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So I want people to kind of get a better sense of what these categories mean. So there's a category where there was, for Windows 10, there was 6 things for user auditing. And then there's 1 thing for account policies, or there's 4 things for local policies. So what's the difference between like policies and auditing? What does that mean? Okay, Maya says local policy would be security policy. Okay. Service auditing is stuff in the services.msc. Okay, Landon, one of your guests, I'm going to point out, user auditing, actually in this context, user auditing means you as an administrator are auditing what the users are. So you are looking at the users and saying, does this user belong here? Is this user an administrator? Is this user supposed to be is this a hacker's account that just needs to be deleted? What is it? So when they say auditing in here, they mean actually you as an administrator looking at things. So then, since that's what auditing means for user auditing, what does service auditing mean? Anyone out there? Melina? I'm picking on Melina because I see her on the list. Okay, Landon had an answer. We'll see. Melina, do you agree with Landon or? All right, let me pick on somebody else. Delvin, what do you think that since I just explained what user auditing is, what do you think service auditing would be? Are you there, Delvin? Okay, you're thinking too. No. Delvin's guess, logging different services that happen. It's not that. This is why we have to pay attention. All right. Who can explain in their own words what I just said about what user auditing is? And I was worried that, okay, Landon, are you the only one on this call? We have a bunch of bots. At least we can have the bots reply.
We might have to start just calling on people, maybe. Rin said she answered the question. Services.message, turn stuff on and off.
No, that's not it. I mean, yes, it is it in the sense that when you have to audit the services, and you look at the services that should be on and the ones that should not be on and fix those. So you have to review the services that are on there. And I'm sorry for picking on you, that Arin, that was unfair to say it was not the right answer. But what I wanted to get people to look at is like, it's not the machine doing an auditing, it's you, the admin, that's looking at the services and assessing them. So, and that's the same thing for the same thing for service auditing and user auditing, is you're looking at the users and you're assessing, you know, are they the right users? Do they belong? Do they not belong? Okay, so you should, we haven't gone through each one of these in gross detail, but this is your guide. So if you don't know what they are, you won't be able to think and go, oh yeah, I should look for this or that. So anyway, thank you, Ms. Wood. We can move on to the next thing. Okay, CIS benchmarks. So forgive me, it was back in 2017, but I think we presented to you the CIS benchmarks. And is this the wrong link? Shoot. It's, go ahead up a level, Mrs. Wood, to Cyber Patriot. Yeah. And then right there, CIS benchmarks. I must have put the wrong link in. Okay, so these, the CIS benchmarks are basically, go ahead and open one up. Okay, CIS stands for Center for Internet Security. they've established some settings, some set of settings that are put you in a good security posture. If you scroll down a little bit farther, Ms. Wood, they explain kind of there's 2 levels. I think page 24. If you click on the profile definition, yeah, I think the links are live, but the table of contents live, I mean. Or we can just go to page 24.
Man, the technical difficulties tonight. I'm sorry, you guys. You're sick from that.
Well, while we're getting to that, there's an explanation that there's like level 1 and level 2. There we go. Level 1, they're giving you different kinds of things. So you see, be practical and prudent, provide clear security benefit, and not inhibit the utility. So basically, the level 1 items are things that you should do that are kind of no-brainers. When you get to level 2, then now you're going to start to impact functionality. So you want to be careful about doing those. And there's probably, for the competition, there's more for that. Now, Brendan was asking if there's one for Linux. So if you're on your computer, I would recommend going and taking a look yourself at the CIS benchmarks. Now, the reason they're called benchmarks is because a benchmark is setting a level of security. The settings can be anything, but they're trying to say in this with a benchmark is we're going to establish a baseline that we think is a good security posture, and then you have these 2 different levels. So let's see. Maybe Ms. Wood, can you give me back control, and I'll take them through something. Maybe somebody can fix the link in the PowerPoint charts too.
Okay, got it.
All right. Thank you. So what I did was I opened up the Microsoft Windows Server 2016 benchmark. Now, for the upcoming competition, we don't have 2016. That's going to be in the semifinals for the groups that get there. But one thing I know was an item that was found in the last competition was about printers, printer drivers not being able to be installed by users. So if we do, if I look for printer in this, I found that it's a level 1 vulnerability. And when you see scored, when it's talking about scored, it means that there's a tool that you can get from CIS that will go ahead and check for these things and give your system a score. That tool is not free though, so it's better for our purposes. We're just going to have the documents to review and come up with ideas. So if I go to page 148, it describes it's a level 1 vulnerability, and it gives both for domain controller and a member server. It explains the recommended setting is enabled. So it says prevent users, the setting is prevent users from installing printer drivers, set to enable. So now you're like, great, that's great. How do I do that? Well, it says right here, navigate to the UI path in the remediation section and confirm it as described. So, and then this, if it is fixed, it's in the registry this way. Now, we haven't done a lot with the registry, so I'm going to skip over that. Here's the remediation. It says recommended that the configuration via the group policies, that's what GP stands for, set the following UI path to enable. That's user interface path. So what is that? Well, if you go to, I'm going to bring up the here's the user interface, and it's saying, okay, go to policies. So we got to get to policies, local server, open that. And it's kind of going slow here. But when you see UI, it's basically telling you, you go to use one of the tools in the user interface. And Brennan, did you see if there was one for Linux inside the drive? Okay, so we finally got this to respond. Okay. Well, if anyone can confirm to Brennan whether there's one for Linux, I think there should be. Mr. Rodriguez was doing that.
There is. I just posted the link into the chat box.
Okay, good. Basically, when it says UI, and I'm frankly having trouble with this right now. Once again, more technical difficulties. So, oops, wrong one. Okay, computer configuration policies. So we need to go to the computer configuration and find policies. I did computer management, but okay. So I guess I'm going to have to come back to this because I'm struggling here. And but the idea is when you see in the instructions it says UI, this is actually trying to navigate you to the menu where you can find this. And unfortunately, I'm not that familiar with Windows Server 2016, so I'm getting a little stuck myself. But the idea is once you get to this, then you can make the setting change. And you can probably Google, this prevent users from installing printer drivers and find some instructions that tell you how to do it. So we'll leave it at that for now. We're starting to run out of time anyway. Okay, so we looked at the CIS benchmarks, and the last thing I want to share with you is the CVEs. We covered this before. This is the common vulnerabilities and exploits, and this is where you can get information about known vulnerabilities out there. So I'm going to click on this. It's going to take us to the page. And how many people have seen this before in the chat? Maya's seen it. Good. Anyone else out there? Anyone? Bueller? Yeah. Last round forensic question. So it might be there again. Was that in the... I may have missed the wrong time to tell you this if it was in the last round. Okay. Well, let's just do one little quick example. You can look up by any kind of name or whatever. So I'm going to look up Spectre. All right, and there is an explanation of the problem. And you see it has a date, 2017, and then an ID. So you can click on this and get lots of information about the exploit. Date it was created, you know, how bad it is, etc. Okay. Lastly, let's talk about some questions. So I just explained what a UI is. Can anyone answer what UI stands for? And not Landon. Okay. Yay, some people are listening. Okay. All right. How about what's a benchmark? Okay, Brennan, standard. Delvin says a test. In this context, what I was explaining is the reason why they call those CIS benchmarks is because they set a level for the kind of security posture you should have for each of your different systems. And what's the difference between level 1 and level 2? Yeah, you guys are getting the level 1. It's basic, it's the common sense, it's the one that you don't have to worry about usually messing up your system while implementing them, causing lots of heartache. If you change some of the level 2 settings, then you risk really screwing things up. So for the competition, which one should you focus on, level 1 or level 2? Brendan says level 2. Anyone else? Another vote for 2? Mrs. Wood, what do you think? 1 or 2? Well, I guess the way I'm going to answer it is that the level 1 stuff, there's still a lot of level 1 things that are going to be on the competition. I would definitely start with the level 1. If you get stuck, if you've gone through all the level 1s, then you have pretty much, then you can move on to level 2. So start with level 1, move on to level 2. There's a lot. If you look at the number of pages in this one for Windows Server 2016, it's 816 pages. You probably couldn't read 816 pages in the competition. So you need to get organized. You need to kind of look at target where you think there's going to be the best value. Think about the categories and go through and do that. I would say those teams who are going to score well in the competition are going to do that not just during the competition, but before. You're going to get ready. You're going to play with some of these settings, and you're going to figure out how it works. So you're going to go to the UI and do the group policy settings and make a change by following the instructions. So practice, practice, practice. You only have a week and a half. All right. And why should you pay attention to vulnerability categories? Anyone? Ms. Wood, will you pick on somebody? Someone who you think is a human?
I don't know if anybody's human in this group at this point. Let's see. We know that Landon knows the answer since he's the only one that's really been paying attention. So let's see. Ashley Chen just wrote exposed. So you might as well answer the question, Ashley. Go for it.
So why should you pay attention to the vulnerability categories?
We spent a lot of time on that.
And here I felt so bad for being all discombobulated and no one was paying attention. I felt like I was on the stage, but no one was watching.
Rin and Maya, you want to help out your teammate here? Why are the vulnerability categories very important to look at? Uh-oh, crickets. This is not good. To know what type of things to find. They tell you what type of things are going to be scored.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Those are pretty good answers.
Okay.
When do you think when it would be really helpful to kind of review those categories? When is it good? Now is good, yeah. Before the competition, yeah, good. Before, yeah, that's good. What else? When other time makes sense? Yeah, during the competition. So those are all good answers. The idea is that yeah, actually, Leon got the main point I was trying to make, which, you know, you've gone through your checklist, you've done everything you already know about, and now you're stuck. You're not getting any more points. What is out there? What thing did you not think of? You know, that even Firewall Nation forgot to give somebody a password and like got those points at the very last moment. But this can help you organize your thoughts, make sure you're going through, and when you can't think of anything more, say, did I think of every one of these possibilities? So that's why you do it. I would even recommend you organize your checklist in terms of categories, because then if you you guys are funny on the chat. Organized by the categories, then you know when you're stuck, okay, did we cover everything here? So anyway, that's good. And lastly, but not least, what is a CVE? And I know I just touched on this, but it's on my list of questions. So then everybody can go after that.
You got crickets again. My goodness.
Come on, bots, you got this.
Maya said that she was the only one that looked at it.
I hope you guys are not watching TV while this is going on. That'd be an insult, especially not the Kardashians.
Way to Google what CVE stands for, guys. Good job.
Yay. Okay, exposures and exploits. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I apologize for the hiccups early on, but really, this is, we want you to do well. We're trying to give you last minute tips, and we needed to do it. So looks like, do you have any parting words, Ms. Wood?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up really fast. This is the USA Computing Olympiad. Brennan Liu and I were talking about this earlier. This is a competition that you guys can sign up for. They've already had their first contest for the 2017-2018 round, but it is an individual competition that you can sign up for and check out. But I put the link into our GoToMeeting under the announcements so that you can take a look at it. That is the first thing. Obviously, don't do the competition on the 19th because that is when we will be in the middle of Cyber Patriot, and I will be a little annoyed that you're not paying attention to your team. But check it out, okay? It sounds like it's pretty cool. Whenever we get this type of stuff and or capture the flag moments or any online hackathons or that kind of thing, I will always pass this on, but this was pretty cool that this got brought up. The other thing that I got today in an email was from the Cisco Network Academy area. All of you, your favorite place to go and learn about Cisco. This is an email that they're looking for students to apply to work on a Cisco type game during the NBA All-Star game that is going to be hosted in Los Angeles next month. So I will forward this on to you guys, and hopefully you can take a look at that. But always, of course, trying to give you guys different opportunities to do some really cool computer science and cybersecurity type of stuff. Okay. Okay. With that, it is 7:58. We have finals in 7 days. Yes, people, it is the ring. We are coming to get you. 7 days in finals. So go study, get ready, yeah, let's get ready and psyched for this competition. All right. Good night, you guys.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.